and welcome to Thrift Shop Biography. This is the one about Cher. Thank you for listening. Hey.
Hello.
Okay, hi. So, this week we have been reading the autobiography of Cher.
No surname, just Cher.
No surname, legally, just Cher now. Yeah.
And now we're going to share the facts.
Oh, I like that. So, like every week, I'm going to ask you, before you read this book, what did you think about Cher?
Well, firstly, I saw her in concert about 3 years ago. I went in thinking I liked her, came out a fan.
Right.
Literally completely flipped me. She was fantastic, so entertaining, and really spoke to everybody and showed us all these video clips of Sonny, and I really got to realise how much they loved each other. And generally, though, I think her tunes are great, and I thought she was a diva. I thought she was a stroppy woman.
Oh, okay.
And a bit of a diva, so I thought I'd find out a lot of that.
Oh,
this.
Really?
I didn't know she had any sensitivity.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why? What did you think?
Oh, I've loved Cher since, like, I don't know, the 70s.
Yeah.
Big fan of her 80s rock albums, actually.
Right.
Not so much, like the late 90s dance stuff, that's kind of off my radar, to be honest. But like 70s and 80s Cher, I thought she's brilliant. But I thought she's one of the most open, straightforward, good-natured celebrities who never really lost her grounding.
Okay, but then I haven't really... If you really like somebody, you follow them and you watch interviews, and
sure.
She isn't somebody I particularly folled.
Okay, so she comes across as a stroppy cow to people.
Oh, yeah. If I didn't really know much about her, I actually really didn't know much about her at all. I've been thinking about this since I read it. I'm sure I saw an interview once with her where they went, haven't you slept with all these celebrities? Like, did you sleep with Elvis? Did you sleep with Warren Beatty? Did you sleep with... I'm pretty sure she was saying yes to everyone.
Okay.
But when I read this, that doesn't seem to be the case.
She doesn't mention Elvis once, does she? Oh, she goes to see him in concert.
I'm just saying Elvis off the top of my head, but I'm sure there was this whole list, and she was just saying, yes, I've slept with all these men. But that isn't who she is, really. So I wonder if she was just saying that.
Maybe it's something that happened. And if somebody asks her in an interview, she's not going to lie about it. But when she comes to writing about things that are important to her in her autobiography, she just doesn't...
But anyway, talking about how you expect someone to be, that's how I expected her to be. And that
a stroppy slut.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't come across like a stroppy slut at all in this book, does she?
A little bit.
So, back in the beginning... 1946, little Cher is born.
To a beautiful blonde woman and an Armenian father who's pretty much absent her entire life.
Yeah, until he does visit.
Pops in.
Yeah, and Cher's relieved when he visits because she's always felt quite other. Yeah. I feel that that's a running theme through this book from birth till now, that she does feel... Certainly when she was younger, like on the outskirts a bit, like she's visibly different to her mum and her sister.
A running theme through many people's biographies.
And she says that when she meets her dad for the first time when she's like 11 or something, she's just like, oh, he has my face.
Yeah, she opens the door and goes, there's my face.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Yeah. But until then, so like her whole first 10 years on this planet, she doesn't really see anyone who looks like her.
And she's got a sister who's pale and blonde and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the point where they said they went on holiday to Mexico and they got held up leaving because the immigration thought that they'd stolen a child because she'd got a tan as well from the holiday. Yeah. And you see the picture and she does look Mexican, to be fair.
She does.
With this white, pale family.
Yeah. But I think that feeling of otherness, there's a story from the... first of all, let's talk about the book and the way it's written. Yeah. It's unusual, isn't it, for an autobiography?
It's really light and fun.
Yeah, and the book is called The First Time. And like almost every page is a new thing. It has a heading, the first time I did this, the first time I did that. But actually I'm interested in the second time and the third time she did something. And it's just not here. And also, like I said at the beginning, my favourite Cher era is all of her 1980s rock albums. They're not even mentioned.
She doesn't mention making music, actually.
She doesn't mention...
After the early days.
Yeah, because that's the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So she's talking about the first time she started making music. Yeah. But maybe that's... response to living your life in the public eye.
Well, I felt that.
Yeah, look, you don't want to give too much
No.
away. And a couple of times in this book, she does talk about how the media and paparazzi completely invaded her life and ruined it at certain points. So, you know, maybe this is her way of saying, okay, I'll tell you about myself, but on my terms.
That's what I felt. I absolutely felt that. And I was like, I really respect her for remaining private whilst telling you her life story.
Right.
I really respect that.
And actually, thinking about it, you know, like on her own terms, that is a running theme in this book, even from when she's like 4 years old.
Total rebel.
Yeah. Even that point when she's at school where you have to get up and do show or tell and tell a little story. And at 4 years old, she gets up and she says, school is stupid, you're all stupid, I'm going home. And she walks out of school at 4 years old. I mean, that's somebody who was born living their life on their own terms.
Yeah. And then when she gets home, she tells them what happened. They all think it's hilarious.
They think it's hilarious, yes.
So she's always been supported to be who she wants to be.
Yeah.
Not that it would have changed her if they didn't support her.
Sure.
But it's really nice that they did, isn't it?
But it's also kind of slightly crazy.
Yeah, but they are slightly alternative people. Because she never talks about what her mum did, but it's dropped in a sentence at some point. Yeah, my mum was an extra or a small part in that film. So she was obviously an actress.
Her mum was an actress, and that kind of that's another thing that I get, like with other autobiographies we've read. Sometimes their parents they're not successful in the industry, but they might be a singer, or they might be acting in theatre. So even though the parents aren't hugely successful, so there's no like nepotism to be gained. It's just the fact they grew up in a house where an adult has those pursuits. They can see that it's possible.
Yeah, it's a job. It's a viable job.
Yeah, but no, Cher's mum also went on like having bit parts in I Love Lucy and stuff.
How do you know this? Did you Google her separately?
No, it's in this book.
What?
Yeah.
I read that book. Did she?
When they were they were at some house later in life when Nixon was on the TV and Lucille Ball was there running down Nixon, and the men in the room said, do you want to go into a different room and talk about your women things? And it's in that chapter that Cher says that she kind of knew Lucille Ball because her mum had done
that will be the sentence.
The
one sentence that said she was an actress, and I was like, what? How funny she didn't mention it up to then.
But she also says that, and I find this weird, and I find Cher's reaction weird. She says when she was like 6, her next door neighbour, her mum had a fight with the next door neighbour where she was like grabbing her by the hair and throwing her around the yard. And Cher's response is, wow, I'd never seen my mum like that. Isn't she cool? It's just like, that would be terrifying to see your mum have an actual fist fight with your neighbour.
To be honest, that neighbour was trying to take the dog away and have it put down in a pound.
Yeah, so, I just still don't think you need to resort to physical violence. Yeah, okay, all right. She's looking after a dog.
It's really Wizard of Oz, isn't it?
She gets a free pass.
Do you know what? If that happened in the Wizard of Oz, there'd be no story. Get the dog back, end off. Yeah, I thought it was quite cool.
Yeah, well, Cher thought it was cool. Yeah,
but also I think it's quite hilarious that she thinks it's cool because she is a feisty, real individual, very sharp-minded, really intelligent person.
Yeah.
And then it only comes away later in her life that she finds out she's dyslexic, which explains why she's no good at school, which it's that other thing as well where you don't fit in, you can't do the work, or you don't know why. No one diagnosed it then.
I didn't even know what it was.
No. So she leaves school, so she sort of grew up faster than others. Yeah,
for sure. And she had to live her life through other than academia, you know, with her creativity and her force of personality, which she certainly did.
Yeah.
And I think there are other bits that she wrote, like her complete independence from an early age. You can't just see it in these bits where she's like, oh, you're all stupid, I'm leaving school. There's a really lovely bit actually where it's her birthday. I think it's her 8th or 9th birthday, and she's having a party at her house, and her mum turns up after work with a bicycle, a brand new bicycle for her. Cher gets on the bicycle and she's gone.
Yeah.
And she just, even though there's a party with her friends going on at her house, she's just obviously says it's the first time I ever felt free.
Yeah.
I think I love that.
She loves that feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is that spirit.
Yeah.
Really singular spirit. It's pretty cool.
She is very cool. Even she was born cool.
She's cool.
We think she's cool. But also, what I love about Cher, as other people that we've read about, is that they really were quite poor.
Yeah.
Because her mum was a single mum at this point. She had 2 daughters. It got to the point where Cher and her sister were living with their gran because their mum could only afford to live in a little flat above a shop with a pull-down bed.
There's a few strange things like that where there's definitely more to it. Like, what was she doing when she had to be on her own in a pull-down bed? Because if she really needed her kids there, she'd have had them there. Maybe she had a certain job.
Think?
You know, maybe she had a job where she got up. No, not that sort of job.
Oh.
Well, I don't like to think that.
Okay.
No, but, you know, just maybe one where she had to get up at 5 in the morning, or she was waiting tables, or got back in the middle of the night, or maybe she did have a boyfriend at that time. Or I was thinking, there's more to that.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unusual.
Because look, the Jacksons all piled into one room if she really wanted her kids with her. So what was really going on?
Okay.
Plus, I think, reading between the lines a bit, I think her mum might have been a proper depressive, you know, because she was saying you can't see what's going to happen with her mum. She'd be really happy one minute and then confined to her bed for a week, you know, and then have to get them to sit in the bed and watch telly. That's proper depressive, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I think it didn't spell it out, a bit like she didn't know she was dyslexic, but I think that's probably what was going on there. I think it's possible that Cher's mum might have had a bit of bipolar sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
From the swings and roundabouts of her.
Yeah. It's possible.
Yeah.
And so you think they went to live with their grandparents because their mum just
She could have had a real downer.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, bouts of just literally not knowing what your mum's going to come at you with.
Yeah.
And growing up with that.
Yeah.
Sort of makes sense. Nobody diagnosed that stuff then.
But she does talk of times of like having no food, like her and her sister having no food in the cupboard and stuff. I kind of love I don't love that they were living in poverty, but I love stories, like real rags to riches stories.
Then, they had a taste of the high life when her mum married a
millionaire.
And they actually moved, I think it's not even a year, was it?
5 months.
5 months.
So her and her sister get to live in this amazing house with a butler.
Yeah.
She's getting on the school bus with Tina Sinatra.
Yeah.
Swimming pool, everything.
Yeah.
5 months later, back in the valley.
Yeah, split up. She's back. Had the taste of it.
Yeah. I think when you're a single mother and you've got 2 daughters, you shouldn't be moving in. Her mum had quite a few
lot of different partners.
And she dragged the girls around behind, a bit like Mariah Carey's mum did, actually.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, you think, it only lasted 5 months. Also, let's not put all of that onto the single mother. I think the men who get into relationships with mothers actually don't realise what it's like having kids.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they've got a ready-made family. And do you know what? 5 months down the line, once a honeymoon period has worn off, you kind of think, I don't really want these brats hanging about. So she had a bit of an unsettled childhood for sure.
She really did.
She?
In loads of different schools, it says. Yeah. She couldn't keep up.
Yeah. And then when she was 16, she kind of made a run for it, and she broke out on her own, which I think she was always dying to do. I mean, oh my goodness, when she's like 13, this is how much this young girl craves independence. When she's 13, she takes her mum's car out.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh my God.
I know. And drives into LA or something, isn't it?
And it's not even like a hijinks joyride or anything where she's with her friends doing it for a day. No. She's doing it because she wants to get out and drive the car and be grown up and independent.
Yeah.
But that is quite remarkable. I mean, who's teaching her? She's just getting in the car and working out for herself.
Yeah.
Because she wants to do something that badly. She was always going to succeed, this woman.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And she has, amazingly, and kept going.
Yeah. Can we jump to when she's 16 and takes the car? Because it's absolutely amazing.
Shocking,
She's
go
only
on.
just turned 16, gets the car. Has she nicked the car at that point, or is it her own car? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. No, it's her. No. I think it's her stepdad's car.
Allowed to drive
because
it
she is, but she's worried about marking it or something, which is why because she nearly has a bump with another car. Yeah,
big white Lincoln Continental or something cuts her up, so she's driven right off the road, gets out, starts swearing at the bloke. The bloke gets out, starts apologising. It's Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty.
What are the odds?
I know, right? Amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And then she's like, well, I guess that's Hollywood. But even then, the odds are a bit ridiculous.
They are a bit ridiculous, unless he was following her.
It has crossed my mind. Does he just run
Do
off
it deliberately?
Beautiful young girls in
off
cars.
Off the road to seduce them.
It did cross my mind, but
what happened after they...
she swears at him a lot, and then he says, do you want to go for a drink or food? And she said, no. And then he goes, do you want to come to my place for drink food? She goes, no, why not?
Yeah, why? Well, you would. He's like so handsome at that point.
Yeah.
And he's a film star.
Yeah, she does say that, and that is why she does it.
You'd go home with Warren Beatty, right?
I don't think I'd go home with him at that point, see. I think I'd stick to a public place. But that's me.
No, you're not Cher.
I'm not Cher, and I never will be.
You're not a strappy slut.
No.
So she just goes off and has a romantic liaison with Warren Beatty.
Yeah. Well, romantic, but she does say she didn't care about him. But they obviously really got on, though. They genuinely got on and stayed friends, which is really cool.
Yeah. And she goes home and tells her mum and her sister or her friend who don't believe her.
Yeah, and then he phones the house. And then they tell him she's only 16.
Yeah, right.
And he says, I was amazed that he still liked me. Duh.
Hang on, so she's there in Hollywood, right, at the age of 16, hanging out with Warren Beatty. I know that doesn't become a thing, but they remain kind of distant friends or whatever. Yeah. And then I think she's dating somebody working in the music industry, and she's out for lunch or something with him one day, and in walks Sonny.
Yeah, well, he sets her up saying, should we go on a double date or something with your friend?
Ah, yes, that's right.
Because this bloke's just got divorced.
Yeah. That's right, and then so they're there for a double date, and then when Sonny walks in, Cher is like,
she's got cartoon hearts coming out of her eyes.
Yeah, and
immediately
she says the first thing she says, he's looked weird. Yeah, he's short, he's got a funny haircut, he's wearing weird clothes, and she's immediately fascinated by him. Yeah. And I think that's the feeling of other that runs through this book. She's always felt on the outside, and here's a guy who obviously is on the outside because he just looks.
But also, he had an amazing charisma, and everyone says, "Hey, Sonny, hey." They all want to know him, and he's got amazing rapport with everybody.
Do you know what? I've always kind of in my mind thought of him as being a funny looking man, and like all those old videos, but actually I looked at some photographs of them online, like when I was reading this book. Actually, he was very handsome.
He's handsome, it's just I guess he's got a funny haircut for people of our era.
Yeah, sure.
But to be honest, I think it was probably funny for their era, but they actually changed fashion. So people would have got haircuts because of him.
Because of him.
And her.
Yeah.
It's because I saw my parents a couple of days ago, and I said to my mum, I've got to ask you about Cher, because you're about that age that she was huge right when you were a teenager. I said, were you influenced by her? Because my mum had dyed her hair dark, had it parted in the middle, and wore a lot of eyeliner. She went, I probably was actually. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, bloody hell. Like the pictures of when I was born, that's what my mum looked like. She's probably kept the look of Cher. That's incredible. Actually,
she really
changed. They changed how other people looked in a whole era.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
She said actually that people were used to seeing the mods for like the Beatles fans. People were used to seeing rockers, which was like the Elvis fans. Nobody'd ever quite seen anybody who looked like
at all.
Sonny and Cher.
And it actually says we were the first hippies.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. She says how they created their look. We're skipping again.
Yeah, well, that's okay, because we're with Sonny. Let's just quickly go back to how so Cher's sharing a flat with her friend.
Yeah.
And then Sonny just kind of lives in a bigger house with lots of different women. That I think reading between the lines, he's just been divorced. I think he's having a good time with lots of pretty young ladies.
That's not reading, those are in the lines.
Oh, okay. And then Cher moves in because her friend moves out and she's got nowhere to go. Yeah. And so she moves in with Sonny, and Sonny says, oh, I need someone to cook and clean, and it's fine, I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah, and he's got a spare bed in his room.
In his room. So they have this platonic relationship where he is seeing other women, and Cher's just like this weird friend he has.
A kid. She's a kid. She's still 16.
Of course, Sonny's 10 years older.
11. Well, 10.
11.
Yeah, I looked that up.
And she's just this young kid who's hanging about whilst he's having all of these relationships with other women. She's living in the bedroom.
She's besotted with him at this point.
But she's also lying to him because she did say to him that she's
80.
Oh, yeah, 80, like really.
Which makes it a little bit more legal.
And then her mum visits, and Cher freaks because she's sharing a room with this older man. And then eventually it does all come out, and Cher's mum says to her, "You're not living there anymore. You've got to go and live in the Hollywood Girls Hostel or something, which has somebody on the front desk and men aren't allowed in." And so Cher gives in to that, and she goes to move out. And Sonny helps her pack her bags and they both start crying.
I know. I hoped you were going to say that, because that's really a turning point.
Yeah.
She said up to that point he hadn't said anything really particularly fond to her, or he was always taking the piss out of her.
Yeah.
And then at that point, they looked at each other and started crying, and you know that a massive bond has formed.
Yeah.
At that point, they love each other at that point.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I have to say that I think this book is a love story.
Oh, do you know?
Ultimately, a love story.
And that's the beginning, and I think it's beautiful that it didn't start with, well, it kind of did for her. She loved it, but he was kind of almost not aware of what was going on, even though he must have been feeling it. But I think he had all these other distractions.
Yeah, he probably didn't want to let it in when he'd just got divorced.
Yeah.
And it's real. They really, really got on. They really clicked. Their personalities totally got each other.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing, is that was a genuine, real union of the minds, which is very, very cool. And there probably is only one person for each other, and they were them.
They found each other.
Yeah.
And so then it kind of becomes official from that point. They have a relationship, and like he goes to meet her mum and stuff, and so that's the beginning of Sonny and Cher proper.
Yeah.
So he's working in the music industry, right? I love this. I didn't know, but I loved reading about it. Is that he's working with Phil Spector in the studio. All those amazing songs.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
All that stuff I didn't know. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but I loved reading about it again.
Oh.
From her point of view.
Yeah.
Being like a 16-year-old and being in the recording studio with the Ronettes.
I know.
And the Righteous Brothers.
Oh my God, so they sang background on Be My Baby.
Be My Baby.
How many times have you listened to that?
I know.
That's Sonny and Cher singing in the background. I never knew that. And also, You Lost That Loving Feeling.
Yeah.
That's Sonny and Cher singing in the background.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
That blew my mind.
But the reason that Cher sung backing vocals on Be My Baby, Darlene Love, who I think is one of the most cheated people in the recording industry, she's basically known as an amazing background singer, and they kept her a background singer because she was just so capable and brilliant. They knew what she was worth, and so they kept Darlene Love for themselves. There's a really good documentary. It's called something like 20 Feet of Stardom.
I've seen that film.
It's about all those backing singers.
It's a great film.
Cher's continually, like in the 80s, her rock albums, there's duets with Darlene Love and stuff on them. But it's because Darlene Love's car broke down on the day of the recording session, so they were a voice down. Yeah. And then they said to Cher, Phil Spector said,
you can sing.
Go and sing. And she's like, I can't. Well, I can, but
she's really scared.
And she goes in, and then from then on, she becomes a backing singer as Phil Spector's Wall of Sound.
Wall of Sound, and they would do nothing without them on it. So they're on that whole genre of music. That's them singing on the background for what, 2 years or something?
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
And then Cher gets a crack at recording a solo record. They give her a different name. Was it Bonnie Jo Mason or something like that?
Yeah.
And it's about Ringo Starr, because Beatlemania is at its height.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a love song.
Yeah.
I listened to it on YouTube, actually. It's a real pastiche of a Beatles song as well, with lots of
excellent.
But because Cher is a contralto and her voice is quite low, the song was called I Love You, Ringo.
Yeah, I thought it was gay.
People thought it was a man singing. So the radios never serviced it, and they never played it because they thought it was a gay man singing a love song to Ringo Starr. So her solo career stiffed right at the beginning.
And Sonny says, come on, you should get a solo career, and he really pushes her. And then when she's going to go on, she says, I can't go on, I'm too scared, terrified, you have to come with me. And that's accidentally when they formed a duo.
Yes.
Because he always wanted her to be on her own. And their first gig was at a roller rink.
But they weren't called Sonny and Cher to begin with, right?
No, because he had a Julius Caesar haircut. She looked like Cleopatra. So they were Caesar and Cleo.
Caesar and Cleo.
Yeah.
So they had like a couple of singles out of Caesar and Cleo, right? Not to great acclaim, but they were getting things going.
Yeah.
And then I find this amazing because you've already said about their distinctive style and stuff, right? Presumably, as Caesar and Cleo, they had
costumes, it sounds like.
Yeah, because then one day the airline lost their suitcases when they were going to do a gig as Caesar and Cleo. So the only thing they had to wear were the clothes they were dressed in.
Yeah.
And they went on stage, and
they took off.
Yeah, and then they went on stage as themselves.
Yeah, and they realised
and the audience loved them.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wow, this reaction is way better than we're getting as Caesar and Cleo.
Yeah.
So they just became themselves.
It's got to be real.
But I find it, it's authenticity, isn't it? Absolutely, 100%. But I do find it amazing that Sonny and Cher can look this amazing and this individual. But I guess public perception at that time, they thought in order to be successful, you have to dress down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what they were wearing as Caesar and Cleo.
Yeah.
Probably just a bit boring outfits.
I mean, it could have been.
That's why it didn't work.
Yeah. Who knows?
So then they became Sonny and Cher. They became themselves.
Yeah,
amazing.
Exactly. But who themselves were extraordinary people.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Yeah, so so now we can talk about the clothes, because I love that. Because she was walking down the street one day and saw a woman wearing bell bottoms, really massive bell bottoms that were brightly coloured flowers on, runs after this woman and says, excuse me, where did you get those trousers? And she, well, pants. She says, my sister made them. Mm-hmm. So they exchange numbers, and these people become really good friends, this woman and her sister. And from that point on, she said, they never wore shop-bought clothes ever again. Uh-huh. And those people ended up living above them. Mm-hmm. And she just Cher designed the clothes for her and Sonny, like ruffled shirts and bell-bottom trousers of all different types. And that's all they wore. So actually, they really did create a massive look of the 60s because they actually designed and made it. It's not like like they put together stuff from shops. They actually designed and made a huge look of the 60s that then became a manufactured thing, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible actually.
Yeah.
When you just think that all came from Cher's. And I wonder actually where she was getting her inspiration from.
True.
I mean, the beginnings of it must have been there. If she noticed that a girl was wearing bell bottoms.
That's true. I have thought about that too.
So it was around. It just wasn't.
It wasn't
massive.
mainstream in any way. And then she says they drove past a shop, and she went stop, and it hanging on a hanger outside the shop, waving in the wind, was a fur vest thing. And so she says that would look amazing on you, Sonny.
On Sonny, yeah.
And everyone copied that. It's one of those things where you find out where a whole fashion look came from. Yeah. Is incredible. Well, she says later on that within 3 weeks of them taking off, she saw people dressing like them, and they were cutting off their grands or their mums' fur coats to make vests and stuff. Oh yeah, Eskimo boots they saw as well, and they tried them. And they were the first hippies. Before even the word hippies was made.
Yeah, Sonny and Cher are mid-60s, they're 64, 65, and hippies really is kind of reached consciousness around 68, 69, doesn't it? So they're really at the forefront of really influencing that whole...
definitely didn't know that. And also the way people treated them. They were treated like freaks.
Oh my God, I know, right?
Really, really abused by strangers. I mean, Middle America, of course, you know, they really, really were out of place. But so they were really paving the way to be different for a whole new scene. Yeah. Just the two of them.
They would also say, when they would get popular and people would come to their gigs dressed as them and stuff, and sometimes they need to rely on the police for security. Yeah. They said the police really just didn't like them and care about, basically because of what they were wearing.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts, isn't it? I like the when some security backstage, when she was running to get to the car, jumped on her because they thought she was a Cher lookalike. To be fair, she does look a lot like Cher.
Yeah. So they're kind of being Sonny and Cher and doing a few gigs, not really setting the world on fire yet, and they're hanging out with like the Rolling Stones and stuff. So they're like the young Rolling Stones when they first come to America.
Yeah, because some record person says that you'll get on with them. You'll get each other because they were so different.
Yep. And so this is the first time they come in. They were all so young, and Sonny and Cher are on the tour bus with the Rolling Stones and just hanging out. There's an amazing line where she goes, I can't remember much about Keith other than he looked healthy. And it's kind of like, wow, there was a time when Keith just looked healthy. Yeah. Like right at the beginning.
Yeah. I really like it that they said they were so naive. They were on an actual bus, not even a tour bus. It was an actual bus just with seats. Kind of really sweet. Knowing what they got to.
But they're kind of like teenagers, aren't they, at this point?
Just kids on a bus. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, really cool. And you just think, God, those experiences that this one person has had before becoming massively famous herself. She's already with Phil Spector and all those girl bands and the Righteous Brothers, now on the tour bus with the Rolling Stones.
Who she can't even understand. She said she understood about every third word.
But it was the Rolling Stones who said to Sonny and Cher, America's not going to get you. You need to go to London.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the big stars... There was a big Brit invasion at that point. Was it the Beatles had made it? And once the Beatles made it big in America, then, 50 English bands made it big in America, and the Rolling Stones were one of them. So they told them, if, you're not going to make it, you need to go to England first, get famous, and come back. And boy, were they right.
But it's all a completely crazy coincidence how it happened.
Again. Do you know what, before we get to London, can I say I'm amazed that they had to sell their cars to buy the plane tickets to go to London.
Yeah.
Again, but that's also a huge confidence in yourself, a huge leap of faith. I mean...
Well, it's also almost last chance saloon, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got to have a go.
Yeah.
And we'll put everything we've got into it. It's putting all your chips in, isn't it?
Yeah.
To try and win.
And what happened to them in London, I think, is astonishing.
Extraordinary.
It's what you want to say.
It's both of those words. So there's a total before and after.
So they get to London.
Yeah.
Go to they're booked in the Hilton Hotel, aren't they? Yeah. And then the Hilton Hotel...
I imagine that's Park Lane, is it? It'd be that one, won't it?
I imagine so, yeah. I don't know how many there were in the 1960s.
They're obviously, they've sold their cars, they're going large, or they're going home. So they've got to stay in a fancy place and pretend they're rock stars. Yeah. That must be their thinking.
And they get to the Hilton Hotel. Hilton Hotel take one look at them and say, we don't have your reservation. They basically just don't want them to stay there.
Yeah.
And then I think they have their manager with them, and this kind of situation occurs, and then photographs are taken.
He's arguing, and they're all kicking off.
Yeah.
And by chance, there's journalists, which must be inside the hotel.
Yeah.
The journalists must just happen to have been passing, maybe even just one. The photographer of the Daily Telegraph.
And Sonny and Cher are certainly standing out.
Yeah, they're wearing their most outrageous clothes.
Yeah, so if you're a photographer, I mean, looking for a good photo opportunity, this certainly is one.
American pop stars come over, aren't allowed into the Hilton. Kicked out, in fact, they were kicked out. Yeah. It's the front page of the Telegraph.
I know.
They're instantly famous.
Yeah, I tried to find that picture.
Did you?
Yeah, I couldn't.
I meant to, but I didn't get round to it.
So their photo with these unknown just beatniks, they obviously look so different. The Telegraph think this is a photograph worthy of their front page. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, everybody wants to know who they are.
So by the end of the week, they've done Ready, Steady, Go. Yeah. And they're massively famous. And
the record, because I Got You Babe is out, but not really doing anything. And but it starts getting played on the radio. Yeah, Ready, Steady, Go book them for like 3 weeks in a row. Yep. The record company can't keep up with the sales of the record. And you go straight to number one.
And I think it said by the third week in Britain, they knocked the Beatles off the number one spot, and they've arrived. They knocked the Beatles off!
Insane.
From just 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So by week 2, they were hanging out in clubs with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Dusty Springfield, Sandy Shaw, everybody, who were all treating them like equals. By the 3rd week, she says, she can see lookalikes of them on the street.
Yeah, wow.
3 weeks later.
And they would do like record shop appearances, and they'd expect a couple hundred people. Actually, thousands of people would turn up. Just that quickly.
It's like an overnight success, except it isn't, because they've been working for years.
For sure.
And yet it's an overnight success that night.
Yeah,
it's an over-afternoon success.
Were the Rolling Stones ever right about them going to England?
Yeah. But it's also, it's work and luck and chance, isn't it? It's a combo. You've got to be the right... They made themselves in the right place at the right time. Yeah. But also just everything aligned.
Yeah. From everything we know about the fame and massive celebrity, we know that there are people who are equally talented, equally as good looking, equally as charismatic, who never make it, because you have to have all those things, but also the stars have to align for you.
And the luck, true.
Yeah, and it does happen for some people, and it doesn't happen for others, but this is a really good case of it just happening. Yeah,
but they had a killer tune. Everyone loves I've Got You, Babe. It's still an amazing tune. So they had the music to back it up.
Yeah, definitely.
So they could fly.
Yeah.
And then amazingly, it says when they got back to America, firstly, their aeroplane was mobbed by 10,000 people, which is insane.
Yes.
Because how the news had travelled. But also on their side was, everyone thought, because they came in from Britain, that they were British.
They thought they were British.
So that took them
Yeah.
further than they might have gone, because
Yeah.
they just kept flying on that coattail.
That's incredible, isn't it, when you
can't
think
fly on
about
a
it?
coattail.
You can hang on to a coattail.
They're hanging on the flying coattail.
Defo.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and then within a few weeks they're then #1 in America, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're massively
Huge.
famous.
And they're doing stadiums.
Yeah, right. 30,000 people.
Yeah.
After playing like a year before being Caesar and Cleo and playing to no one.
Yeah.
And now they're just the most famous music act in America.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It is incredible.
I loved reading about that.
Yeah.
Just how quick it was.
Yeah. And then, I am kind of skipping, but I didn't know there was ever a massive lull for them. I didn't know that. Of course, everything changes eventually, so I think that lasted about 3 years, and then they were totally dropped by the audience. And they had to go back to playing small clubs.
Yeah, the irony of it is like when the hippie movement really started happening at the end of the 60s, but you had people like Jimi Hendrix and stuff coming along, and I think Sonny didn't do them a massive favour when he said they didn't smoke marijuana.
He actually, I think, spoke on an anti-marijuana campaign. That killed them.
It killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they weren't cool with the hippies anymore.
No.
They kind of created the hippie movement.
And then stubbed it out.
Yeah.
Stubbed themselves out.
So they were back playing in clubs like 200 people.
And the odd night, like 20 people.
Yeah.
You can't believe it from stadium.
Yeah. That was soul destroying, I imagine.
Yeah,
So
and they were staying in motels and trying to raise a kid at that point.
Yeah, right.
In a motel.
Yeah.
On the road.
But it was through doing those little club shows, and they did them for a couple of years.
They honed their act.
Yeah.
The next act.
Yep. And then Cher was really, don't forget, she was so young when they started, and now she's kind of like mid-20s, and she's obviously got a lot of confidence in performing and stuff now.
More.
And in these shows, her wisecracking side would come out.
Yeah.
And she start doing all of her comedy and her one-liners and stuff, just naturally coming up.
She said Sonny didn't like it when she was a wisecracking woman.
Yeah.
Because, women shouldn't be that wisecracking. But eventually, with all the heckling and stuff, she had to.
She had to.
And then people started really enjoying it, and this club started filling up.
Yeah.
But this is not overnight. This is a few years.
Yeah.
It took them a few years.
And again, the whole chance thing of again happening, they're doing that for years, but eventually a TV producer is in the audience. And so they get the Sonny and Cher comedy hour.
Yeah.
Which in a way is weird, because they're essentially music people.
Yeah.
But by the time they get on TV, they have a comedy show with music, like variety.
It is, it's a variety, isn't it?
Yeah.
Loads of guest stars.
But they're back on top, aren't they?
Totally.
Yeah.
And I love all that stuff. Like, Sonny doesn't really ever learn his lines because he just ad-libs. And it's more funny when he's just being himself. It's brilliant. And also that she loved it so much. She said it never, ever felt like work.
Yeah.
And they did it for years. And it never, week to week, didn't feel like work.
And then at that point, she's now... from the success of the TV show, she's still recording, because obviously she's singing on the show, but singles are released in her name. They're not Sonny and Cher anymore.
Yeah.
She's doing like Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves.
She doesn't mention it.
No, she doesn't.
It's only because we know that she's got a singing career.
It's funny because, like you say, from the very beginning, Sonny wanted her to be a solo artist, but she insisted he come on stage with her because she didn't want to be on stage on her own.
Yeah.
I think when Sonny and Cher were releasing singles, I'm sure there's a couple of songs where he actually isn't singing on them, but he still stands on stage with her.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
I know.
Yeah. But then in the early 70s and so, well, she's getting older, so she does have her confidence now.
Yeah.
But she's becoming Cher, the solo star.
Yeah.
Yeah, and massive, like #1s in America, like 3 #1s in a row and stuff.
All right, Bob Mackie deserves a mention.
Oh, for sure. Her costumes were amazing.
Yeah. And I can't remember when I discovered him, but I've been a massive fan of him for a long time now. Just even looking at his illustrations are amazing. But he really did design Cher from that point on. I think she says she met him around the TV show time. But they couldn't afford him at first.
The budget wasn't
And then when the
enough,
budget got bigger, he designed everything she wore.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, you look at Cher, you're looking at Bob Mackie's work. Amazing that she kept this stick figure, because she was a coat hanger for his designs.
Yeah, right.
Because everything looks amazing on her. She's like a model,
Supermodel,
skinny figure.
She's tall as well, isn't she?
Yeah, but they're stunning. They're stunning designs, and they just became a duo. And even to the point where she ends up at the Oscars, they're saying, "Oh, you're not nominated because we can't take you seriously as an actress because you've only got one name and you don't wear normal clothes." She went, "Right then, I'll show you," and then got him to design her like mohawk, crazy. But actually, you know, she was ahead of her time in that people like Pink and Britney and all these people, Beyonce, they all wear their bodies with some clothes on.
Right.
And nobody was doing that as much, nowhere near as much as she was. It kept saying they ended up trying to tone her down all the time and censor her because she's too much body and not enough clothes. But now everyone's doing it.
Yeah,
she was way ahead of her time in that respect. Anyway,
and then when she presented the Best Supporting Oscar, didn't she say something before she read the nominees? Because she's there with that big mohawk headdress, and then she says, when she comes on stage, she says something like, "Oh, hi everyone, I've read the Academy notebook on how to dress for a serious actress."
Yeah. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the point where she's still being completely independent, not bowing to any social pressures at all.
That is the 4-year-old girl at school saying, "You're all stupid. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
So she's doing that essentially that same thing in front of the Academy at the Oscars on live TV.
Yeah, and
she's saying,
actually being a performance artist and wearing somebody else's art.
Yeah.
Combining her art with someone else's art.
Yeah.
And how important the visuals are.
Yeah, and taking risks. And,
Massive respect.
Massive respect.
To both those people.
Yes. Sonny and Cher, we haven't talked about the fact that their relationship kind of dissolves to a certain extent.
I love also the way she doesn't spill that too much. She really keeps that to herself, all the picky bits. She just says it gets really complicated. I like the way she says it's like when a gold chain gets all tangled up.
Yes. And she's unhappy with the contract that she's got with him, right?
Well,
and
she only just finds out about it,
right?
Because she makes friends with David Geffen.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
And he looks into it. Yeah. He's amazing.
And so he suggests that she needs to renegotiate the contract with Sonny.
Yeah.
And get a 50-50.
Yeah, because she's got nothing. She's got no rights at all. She can't even go out and be Cher.
Yeah.
Without the money going to what they cunningly called Cher Enterprises that actually all go to the men and nothing goes to her.
Yeah.
Pretty much nothing, I don't think.
And she said the only way that could happen, certainly to make it easier, she had to divorce Sonny. Which is interesting. So she divorced him for like a business reason, not because she fell out of love with him or anything. They were still living in that big house, just at separate ends of it. Yeah, they lived end
to end, and I think they both had individual lives and different partners and things by then.
Yeah.
Probably, anyway. He gets upset when she is out for a whole night, even though it was just talking to him.
But again, that's interesting because she says the first night she went out with Geffen, staying up all night talking, she says she just felt free. Now, echoing back to that little girl on the bicycle, feeling free is interesting then. We're talking about how dynamic and independent she is. Actually, she gets together with an older man, essentially, and then is in not a restrictive relationship with him, but she's happy to be part of that.
Yeah.
You know, according to the book, she's happy.
I think it's because it feels that they're being free together.
Yes, they're both
and
rebels.
Whilst they're going alongside each other being free, then she's feeling free. But eventually, I guess, it starts to become restrictive. It must do. She doesn't say. You just have to guess.
They're massively famous. They're doing business together. It's contracted. At some point, the independent streak is going to want to break out from that.
But yeah, it was very much like Elvis and Priscilla. When they get divorced, they're holding hands and they obviously love each other. You see those photos, it's the same. They kiss each other and laugh, and they know they absolutely love each other.
Yeah, and I totally get that were it not for the business complications and it being preferential for them to be divorced, I don't think Cher would have even been bothered about divorcing.
No, I don't either. Except probably might have when she got pregnant with someone else, or he got married a few more times and he had kids.
But she, they kind of split up, so to speak. But she wasn't in a rush to get away from him.
No.
They always remained friends, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh no, but hang on. Then when they went to court for the divorce, didn't Sonny say that Cher was an unfit mother?
Yeah, he tried that angle, and she was furious. And they came out, and he kissed her on the lips, and they laughed, and they realised that so it's.
It's kind of like you should aspire to be in a relationship like Sonny and Cher.
Yeah. It's Elvis and Priscilla, it's Sonny and Cher, it's Prince and Nighty. It's
a defining love story of our time.
They found real love.
All older men with younger women, isn't it romantic?
Yeah.
Barely above the age of consent.
This is when they start to not be as good on telly. They're still doing Sonny and Cher show, but everyone knows they've got divorced and they're seeing other people.
Oh, yeah.
And people don't like
They don't like
that
it.
they're divorced.
Because
she starts mentioning, isn't it funny because I'm seeing someone else and I'm pregnant with someone else's child, but here we are, we're still really good friends, and it's very, very modern and very forward, but people don't like it.
Yeah, I think it's also because, like the little digs they used to have at each other, like Sonny would say something, Cher, you've got a big nose.
Yeah.
And I think when they're in love, that can be seen as an affectionate dig, but once they're divorced and Sonny's saying, Cher, you've got a big nose, it comes across differently,
Awkward.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And people just love them being in love.
Yeah, I love them being in love.
Yeah.
I actually, spoiler alert, I've read the whole book. I don't think they ever really fell out of being in love, ever.
No, but that's why I say it's a love story. They definitely did.
It went to a different level kind of
nor
thing.
Nor did Elvis and Priscilla, nor did any of these people. Blondie and the bloke that's in Blondie, who they were together and then they weren't. But you see documentaries, they absolutely love each other.
They're always in love with each other.
Yeah, they've got other partners, but they'll never ever be. There's one love.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can't live together, but they still love each other. Spoiler alert, I cried.
Fuck, I cried. At the end of this book.
Yeah.
I cried.
It's absolutely heartbreaking.
We'll get there.
Broke my heart.
We'll get there. Let's go back and say that the TV
That's
show's
why I say
tanked.
I know it's a love story. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was not expecting.
They won me over
cry.
as a couple. They won me over. And that no wonder what people went through at the time watching them.
Yeah.
Because they were with them all the way.
Yeah.
And then that would have broken their hearts that they were split up. So it makes more sense.
Yeah.
At the time.
Anyway, I'm not ready to cry yet, so let's talk
I don't want to talk about it.
So the TV show kind of tanks.
Yes.
And Cher is she doing Las Vegas at this point? There's kind of a...
That's her next step. She goes back on the club circuit.
Yeah.
And develops a solo act. Mm-hmm. And then gets Vegas.
Right, and then somebody says to her one night, somebody in the industry says, have you ever thought about acting?
Well, she said that she's at the point where it's the standing room only in a Vegas show and everything's massively successful, but she's feeling empty inside because she wants to act.
And somebody says to her, Cher, what the hell are you going on about? Most people in this industry would give their right arm to have standing room only in Vegas. And Cher's like, do you know what?
I know there's more to it. She always wanted to act. Yeah. She was in acting classes before she even met. Her mum was an actress. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's got it in her. So, Shelley Winters says, you've got to move to New York if you want to be taken seriously. And that did it. Yeah. She went, don't just talk about it, do it. Mm-hmm. So she moved. And she signed up with Lee Strasberg, who, famously guided Marilyn and everything, and is about to go to a class when another random coincidence. Her mum she calls the wrong person to try and get hold of Cher, and it's Robert Altman's wife, who she's friends with, going, hello, is Cher there? No. Robert Altman's going, why would Cher be here? And eventually, when it all evolves that she meant to phone someone else, she says, well, Cher's in New York doing acting classes. And he says, oh, right, and thinks she might be right for this part. So it's another one of those completely insane coincidences. That changed her path.
Didn't it?
Yeah, massively.
Wow.
So she doesn't even have one acting class at that point. She goes straight onto Broadway, Robert Altman directing her in.
Come back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, which I saw the film of many years ago.
They filmed the Broadway show, did they?
No, it is actually a film. There's a film.
Show.
I mean, it's essentially just in a diner.
Yeah, but is it the cast? The same cast as... Because it sort of says, actually at the end, they filmed it.
Yeah, and what's not clear about the casting of it is that Cher says when she walks in, Kathy Bates, Sandy, somebody else are all in the rehearsal room. Yeah. And Cher says she knows that she's probably wanted for the part of the transgender character, right? But Cher wants to play another character and she lobbies for it.
She is saying, who the hell do I think I am? I'm telling Robert Altman, and I've never acted before, that I want this part because I think I'd be better for it.
And she got it.
She got it.
Yeah.
And she probably was better for it.
Yeah. Well, she's great.
I don't know, because she says they got really bad reviews, but then on the other hand, she says on press night she froze.
Yeah, right.
So maybe that was just a bad press night.
Yeah.
Because she obviously really found it later on, but is it obvious? I mean, was it good? Is there any website out there that actually says if it was a really amazing show or not? Because I don't know.
I don't think it matters in a way, because I think it's a place where Cher really found the actor part
definitely.
of herself, and she talks quite a lot about being an actor and about how some nights she would go on stage and it was like fainting, and you'd only wake up at the end when you heard people clapping. It's like she's really getting into it, and knowing that sometimes she's going out and she's bombing, and other nights she goes on and she nails it. Yeah, so that's the important role in Cher's acting career.
I mean, let's face it, she's done millions of shows, wisecracking, singing, playing different characters on the TV shows, because they were actually acting characters, doing comedy and everything. So she has acted, but she's never done a run ever. She's never ever done 60 performances of one show ever. Yeah,
and honing a character and working on a script.
And she tries that out on Broadway.
Yes. But she also says that she is ad-libbing and stuff, and the other actors didn't like it.
Well, it was the writer didn't like it.
Right, that's right.
She said the other actors were so good they could handle it. It was the writer that was, until eventually he realised that she was getting more laughs.
Yeah, and she won him over as well. Yeah. Of course, she's Cher. And then she's approached, I can't remember how it
Mike Nichols came. She said it was this one time where she just nailed it.
Right.
To the point where everyone came and went, what happened? That was insane. And then Mike Nichols comes backstage and casts her in Silkwood.
Wow.
And every time she says something like that, every single thing she did was massive. Every single thing is famous.
Yeah.
Because she was obviously really good in everything she did. Really good.
Yeah.
Because that's so legendary, that Silkwood.
Amazing. Like, her first proper film role is opposite Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
And she talks about being terrified of that. Yeah. And I think Meryl taught her a lot by the sounds of things. Because obviously she's been in loads of films. Meryl has been in loads of films at that point. So, they really got on. But who wouldn't get on with Meryl Streep? Who wouldn't get on with Cher?
Well, because you don't know what they might be like. But she was obviously so warm to her and wanting her to be good. She actually says she wanted to me to be as good as her in each scene. Some actors don't like that. But she obviously wasn't one. She's a generous actress and all that stuff.
But she's a hit. Oh, no, first of all, so they filmed. She has a great time filming her first proper film. And then the trailer comes out in the cinema, and one of the producers phones up Cher and says, your trailer's coming out before a Tom Cruise film or something.
See it. This is before you could Google it, obviously.
Hey,
before YouTube.
Cher dated Tom Cruise, not in the book.
Not in the book!
The first time I dated Tom Cruise, that could have been a chapter, Cher. We need to know. I want to know more about Tom Cruise. Anyway, the trailer for Silkwood is coming out before a Tom Cruise film. So Cher goes with her sister and her manager, and they sit, and the trailer comes on the screen. Silkwood, a new film starring Meryl Streep, and the audience go, ooh. Kurt Russell has go, way, and Cher, and everyone starts laughing. And she says her sister and her manager started crying. Yeah, crying. And Cher says that she thought, okay, it's just that thing where audiences, one of them starts laughing and it just becomes contagious and stuff. And she says she went home and she broke into a million pieces. Yeah.
It always pushes people on because she ends up winning Oscars.
Well, that's the next chapter. So that ends one chapter of the book, and the beginning of the next chapter is, on the morning of the Oscar nominations, we were all up at 6 a.m. and when the nominations were announced that Cher is nominated for Best Supporting Actress, her sister starts screaming and her manager starts screaming, so it's a complete opposite of the reaction in the cinema. She's nominated for an Oscar.
She has to fight that hard to win people over. Yeah. But she does it. But because she's really good, I did actually take the time out to watch a few scenes from Silkwood.
Yeah, I remember it.
God, she's good. It's really good.
Yeah. Something very natural about her, actually.
Really. I like the way she says, she got put into just a t-shirt and trousers and no makeup, and she was at first feeling really vulnerable and upset, and then eventually she's like, oh yeah, it's brilliant. I can get up at 5 a.m, roll out of bed and go to the studio. Was everyone else in makeup? And she ends up finding it really liberating. So it's a bit of a journey for her, isn't it? And she's phenomenally good.
Yeah, nominated for an Oscar. Yeah. Then she gets the film Mask, which I loved back in the 80s, directed by Peter Bogdanovich, who is a massive arse.
Bit of an arse.
Horrible to her.
Yeah. I love how she ends up working out how to deal with him after half the film, it sounds like. Eric Stoltz, who must be...
He would have been about 16 at that point.
Yeah. Says, you've got it all wrong. When you say, no, I don't want to do it like that, you say, yes, I'll definitely do it like that, and then just do it your way, and he never notices. Yeah. She goes, oh yeah. She tries it, goes, oh yeah, brilliant. She's just gone through half a film of tons of arguing.
And she's playing the mother of Eric Stoltz, who has like craniofacial disfigurement. And Peter Bogdanovich actually says to her at one point, "You're only playing the mum, Cher. The film was about the boy. I could cut every scene that you're in out of it." What actual arsehole.
Yeah.
She's amazing in that film.
She is amazing in that film.
But completely snubbed for every single... Oh, did she get like a Cannes award or something for that? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But and she's really good in it. But anyway, no Oscar nomination.
No. Which is the one? Oh yeah.
Moonstruck.
Okay. Moonstruck. Yeah, that's the one that did it. But yeah, then she does Witches of Eastwick, and was treated like an extra because she actually says at one point, Jack Nicholson says, "What is her?"
Susan Sarandon
and
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. She says at some point, Jack Nicholson says to the director, "If you want good performances out of these ladies, maybe you could stop treating them like extras."
Yeah,
he has to say that.
Yeah, and the three of them are like massive stars at that
massive.
point.
And they're like, "Oh, give that line to her because it doesn't even matter."
And it's called The Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah.
Like they are the characters, the main characters, and the male director is just considers them just like extras, just the window dressing or something. To the point where Jack Nicholson has to say, "Hey, buddy."
But he did stick up for them, which is really cool. He sounds like a proper excellent person, actually.
Yeah. Cher doesn't make loads of films, but she makes really good ones.
Yeah.
So then when she gets the offer to be in Moonstruck, the film, right, she then lobbies for Nicolas Cage to play opposite her. And the director didn't want Nicolas Cage. In fact, he'd already cast an actor. And Cher was really adamant. She'd seen him in a couple of films and loved him and thought he's the only person who can play this. He's got a real edge to him.
Yeah,
he is. It gets to the point where they're like, "No, not having him." So Cher says, "Well, I'm not going to do the movie unless you hire him." She says she's never really done anything like that before, but she was so certain that he was perfect for the part, and he was.
And she obviously does, and her best friend has a little bit in it that says she's amazing at sussing people out. She can't suss herself out, but she's amazing at other people.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true. Mind you, she's had a lot of failed relationships. She can't be that good.
Yeah. That's probably why.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, she's on it.
Yeah, she's on it. And then, of course, as we all know, Moonstruck, she gets the Best Actress Oscar.
Yeah.
So she did know what she was on about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another great film.
Yeah, great film.
Yeah.
I need to watch that again.
Yeah, we need another movie night because we need to definitely watch the Sonny and Cher film from the 1960s.
Yes, which we haven't quite mentioned.
No, we haven't quite mentioned
it. At all, in fact.
But listeners, it's on YouTube in its entirety.
And so it's called Good Times.
Good Times with Sonny and Cher. But I think it's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like, well, they wanted it to be like a Beatles film. So they wanted it to be massive. Sonny, obviously, his heart was really in it and hers wasn't. So that's why he was so hurt when it flopped.
But of course, it's just that fleeting nature of pop success, and films take a long time to make. It's kind of like they were massive, and then they took too long. By the time the film came out, their star was on the decline at that point, so nobody really wanted to. If it had come out when they boomed up, it would have been like a Hard Day's Night. Actually. Yeah.
From the sound of it, we really need to watch it.
Yeah,
and it says that they ran out of budget, so they ended up filming like without permission everywhere. They just turn up with cameras and a light and just film everywhere without permission. And then they end up filming a lot of it at their house. So knowing that, it'd be extra interesting to watch it.
Right.
We just get a real nose into their lives.
Let's watch it soon.
Ad-libbing. And also they said they wrote it around Cher's genuine attitude. She was like, "I don't want to make a film. I want to make a goddamn film. This is stupid." And they were like, "That's your character." So it'd be really cool to watch it. We'll be really seeing them as they were.
She didn't win an Oscar for that one, though, did she?
No. From the sound of it, it didn't even become a cult classic.
No, it's just on YouTube.
It's just, yeah.
So Cher's won an Oscar for Moonstruck, and now her career's gone into the stratosphere.
Her career, but also, she said, her personal life, because she got mobbed from that day by the press. To the point where it ruined a really lovely relationship she had, because they got hounded.
Yeah. You're right. She said from that moment, they never got a moment's peace from the media or the paparazzi.
Yeah, climbing over walls, attacking the car, coming in out of their own homes, all that stuff. Absolute nightmare. So that's amazing because she's been massively famous, but that Oscar flipped it.
Yeah. So this era of her winning the Oscar and stuff and being hugely famous, this is the part where I really wanted to know all about. She just doesn't talk about her music career at this point, and it's massive.
It's huge.
In fact, she doesn't even talk about the film Mermaids and stuff, which was massive in like 1990. She was on the soundtrack, and she's left out a lot.
Tons. I think she was trying to just keep it really light, and if you got really bogged down by recording, it's just work, isn't it? I went to work in the studio and worked on this song, worked on that, maybe it's just that. Anyway, the book was published in 98.
Which means she was writing it for a couple of years before, probably.
Yeah, because it says she'd been writing it for a long time, and then Sonny died.
Oh my God. And it died in an accident, so they're not expecting it.
No, 62, skiing accident, banged into a tree.
Oh my goodness, I hated this.
Out of the blue.
And of course, everybody, Cher is ruined by the news, but of course so is Chaz, and so is everybody else, because everybody just kind of universally loved him.
Yeah, and he had other children. He had a child before he met Cher. He had children with another woman after, and he had Chaz, and Cher never wasn't a massive part of his life.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. It's very sad, actually, and it's amazing how Sonny had gone on and had other wives and relationships, but it was his current wife who asked Cher to read the eulogy, which just, again, I mean, that's a massive, for that woman to say that. She is essentially his ex-wife. I don't think there's many current wives who would say to the ex-wife, can you come and do his eulogy? Yeah,
but in part of each other's lives forever.
They're an iconic couple. You can't take, even though Cher's gone on and had this massive solo career, somewhere she's just intrinsically linked to Sonny. Yeah,
I know, it's devastating reading that. And she also mentions that in 87 they went on Letterman, and because they were both Sonny was obviously doing something in Vegas with some Mamas and Papas and other things, some 60s revival, I guess, and Cher had her own album out, so they got them on together and impromptu asked them to sing I Got You, Babe.
Yeah. I watched it.
I did too. Did you cry?
Yeah.
That got me in
But she
bits.
says in the book, so they're on Letterman and he just says to them, can you sing I Got You, Babe? And it comes as a surprise, but they know it inside out. So the house band strikes it up and they start singing. And, Cher's just singing it and it's fun. She said, obviously, you just get back into it immediately. And then she says that Chaz was there and was crying. Her manager was crying in the gallery.
She looks at the audience. She's like, oh, they're crying. What's going on here?
And then she just freezes.
Well, then she looks at Sonny and sees that he's wiped a tear. Yeah. And she's like, oh, my God.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's just a split second, really. She realises, she forgets her lines. And I think Cher is such a professional, and I think it tells you how much it throws her, because she actually goes, oh my God, I've forgotten my lines. Whereas any other situation, you bluff your way through.
Yeah.
And then her singing goes up 3 notches. It's amazing. Her voice just really comes out of nowhere, because she says, then she knows at that moment she had to become Sonny, and Sonny was Cher in a way.
She had to look after him.
She was protecting him. Oh my!
She had to be strong for him.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. I had tears rolling down my face. Oh, I lost it then, because I'd finished the book, and then I watched that, and that finished me.
Yeah, no, it's so moving. It's beautiful. If you're listening, you can watch it on YouTube. Just put Sonny and Cher, I Got You, Babe, Letterman.
That's exactly what I put in.
Yeah, YouTube's amazing for just watching all these old clips.
You see the whole interview and the rapport between them.
Yeah.
And then that, oh God, that's why then after that I went, oh my God, this book's a love story. Yeah. This is an ode to Sonny. And it says for son at the beginning, and I wasn't sure if that was her son or her son or her son, because that's 3 sons actually she's got. I know it was for Sonny. Yeah. And it's actually beautiful. So it's been a journey, hasn't it, reading this?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do you know, for everything that's missed out, what she gave us is enough, actually.
It is. I think that.
Yeah.
I don't want to know really personal
things. And, do you know, the most telling thing of all is that actually, I'm going to cry now. The end of the book is Sonny dies and the book's over.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like her life ended with his.
I know.
Yeah, okay, shall we end?
Yeah.
Shall we end?
It didn't end with his.
Cry?
I know, because I've seen her in concert since.
But also, what's astonishing, this book is about a whole lifetime, a whole career, and it ends just as Believe comes out. That's not even mentioned in the book because it's her next release. The book is out. her new song Believe comes out, and it becomes the biggest selling song by a woman
Was that
ever.
98?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, so this book ends as then the next music release comes out.
It completely gave her a whole new audience.
Yeah.
That song was amazing.
Yeah.
She revived herself yet again.
Yeah.
And can I also add this? When I went to see Mamma Mia 2 in the cinema, because my mate was in it, and I thought I had to go in the cinema because I could see him up big. When Cher came, she comes in a helicopter, and the helicopter opens and out steps Cher. A round of applause in the cinema.
Oh, amazing.
So it went from laughter to she got applause just for entering in a cinema. How many times have you ever experienced that? It wasn't a premiere or anything. It was just a normal night in the cinema. That's a real turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing.
I couldn't believe it because I was really pleased to see her, but I didn't realise she was that loved.
Oh,
It's
that's so
fantastic.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cher is loved. She's universally
She really
loved,
is,
isn't she?
Which makes her a legend.
Yes. She is a legend. There we go.
She is.
Yeah.